Race 4 in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series brings us out west for the first race in the Pacific region of the country at Rattlesnake Valley. This 1 mile uniquely shaped track about an hour away from downtown Phoenix will throw in a wrench for the Cup Series stars to handle a tire compound they are not so familiar with. The option to pick and choose your way through the field could be a teaser for fans to see who has a step ahead of the rest as we prepare for the long haul towards the championship race right here in November. As MDK Race Day welcomes you to the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona for the Shriners Children's 500. Absolutely gorgeous, pitch perfect, no cloud in sight here in Avondale, Arizona. Temperature in the high 70s, no chance of rain, a slight wind, 7 miles an hour east-northeast through the racetrack, but wind gusts can get up to as high as 13 miles an hour. Green flag is scheduled for 3:41 Eastern Time. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of MDK Race Day. My name is Jed. Hope you're having a wonderful day. As you can see, I'm kind of repping some Dale Earnhardt merch here, thanks to the good friends, my good people at Home Field Apparel. They sent me this plus a hat. If you haven't already, make sure you head over to the website at homefieldapparel.com. The number 3 collection has dropped. They got the jacket, they got the hat, they also have some shirts all available as well, as alongside with the Hendrick Motorsports collection that they dropped a bit earlier before. So y'all make sure you go ahead and check it out. Their stuff is just absolutely amazing, as you can see by this. I mean, come on, how could you not want to wear this? Anyways, let's get into with our news and notes. The first story is Chase Briscoe. We talked about a bit earlier on in the show earlier this season how he suffered a 100-point L2 penalty at Daytona and how the team has tried to appeal that penalty, and it worked. They have successfully won the appeal. In a decision by the appeals board, says, quote, "The panel believes that the elongation or length of some of the holes on the number 19 Cup car spoiler base is caused by the process of attaching that specific spoiler base to the rear deck and not modification of the single source part." So in other words, what they assumed to be modification by the team was actually like, hey, the part was like this. That's how it came. That's how it's structured. We didn't make any changes. That's just how it looks like, or that's just how it's designed. So no penalty for the 19 team. They don't have to pay the fine. The crew chief, James Small, is not suspended, and Chase Briscoe jumps up 30 spots in points. He's now back inside the top 16. However, there were still penalties to hand out following COTA, specifically with Kyle Larson and Austin Cindric. Following Austin Cindric's right hook on Ty Dillon at the start finish line, many assume, like Kyle Busch and even Ty Dillon himself, thought that he would have been suspended. NASCAR said no, because of multiple factors. Number 1, no caution was thrown. Number 2, drivers were able to continue. Ty Dillon was able to continue in the race. And also number 3, the speed. It wasn't as egregious, or in terms of wasn't as dangerous as to the likes of what we saw with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson, or with Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin in years past. So I've already made my thoughts on an Inside Lines earlier in the week on this decision, but Austin Cindric has been instead fined $50,000 and has been docked 50 driver points. And finally, Kyle Larson, who lost a wheel during the race at COTA, loses 2 of his crew members. The Jackman, Brandon Johnson, and tire changer Blaine Anderson have been suspended for the next 2 Cup Series races. Let's get into it now with our point standings following COTA. So Austin Cindric would have been in the top 10 still. However, because of his penalty, he now drops way out of the top 10. William Byron, though, gains a spot because the new points leader following his second place finish at COTA. Ryan Blaney in second place, -2. Tyler Reddick in third. Christopher Bell jumps up 8 spots to 4th now, just 21 points, tied with Chase Elliott. Bubba Wallace -22. Alex Bowman -29. Michael McDowell still now back in the top 10, up 6 spots. In 8th place, -31. Kyle Busch, the biggest gainer, +14 with his great run at COTA. Now in 9th, -35, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. round to the top 10 at -36. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Busch Light Pole Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates William Byron for his 14th career Cup Series pole, for his first in almost a year at COTA in 2024, and his first pole at Phoenix, scoring with a speed of 133.680 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $70 million in becoming a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 2025 Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix. Alongside William Byron is the last driver to win at Phoenix in the fall of 2024, defending Cup Series champion Joey Logano. Row 2, Carson Hocevar. What a run. Look at this top 10 in general. I mean, Hocevar in third, absolutely incredible. Josh Berry It's been a long time since we've seen the Wood brothers. That 21 car shows speed. In 4th place, Eric Jones, Legacy Motor Club in 5th, and Chase Elliott from Hendrick Motorsports, back to the usual, the 2020 fall winner in 6th. But 7th and 8th, a brace of Spire Motorsports. Michael McDowell, the hometown driver, grew up about an hour or so away in Glendale, Arizona. Alongside him is Justin Haley, his teammate in the 7 ride, with Tyler Reddick and former Phoenix winner Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Row 6 is the defending spring race winner in Christopher Bell. Alongside him is Ryan Blaney, who has had an incredible record, an average finish of 2.8 in the next gen era here at Phoenix. Row 7 is Chris Buescher. Alongside him is Austin Cindric. Kyle Busch, a former winner here. Alongside him is AJ Allmendinger in the 16 ride. Kyle Larson, shocking to see him so far down in the running order, starting in 17th alongside rookie Riley Herbst. Herbst' teammate Bubba Wallace and Brad Keselowski, they round out the top 20. Row 11 is Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Cole Custer and Ross Chastain, the 2023 fall winner, in the 24th position. Row 13 is Ty Dillon and Zane Smith. Todd Gillen and Ryan Preece make up row 14, and Ricky Shane Van Gisbergen alongside Chase Briscoe, feeling happier now with his 100-point penalty being rescinded, starting in 30th place, though deep in the running order. And look at this final page. Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman 31st and 32nd. Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs just having a horrendous start to the season so far. Cody Ware, John Hunter Nemechek, and Catherine Leckie becoming the first woman since the 2018 Daytona 500 to compete in a NASCAR Cup event driven for Live Fast Motorsports makes up the 37 car field. Here's a look at the odds to win the Shriners Children's 500. Ryan Blaney with the best of odds at plus 500. Byron and Bell sitting at 600 apiece. Also Reddick and Logano at 700 apiece. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson 800 and 900 respectively. Alongside him is his teammate Chase Elliott at 900. Denny Hamlin at 1200, and Ross Chastain and Chase Briscoe both sitting at 2000. And then some real long shots. You see Hocevar at 2800, Barry and Cindric at 3000, Buescher and his teammate Keselowski at 3500, Michael McDowell at 4000, Ty Gibbs at 4500, and Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman each sitting at 5000. Okay, so what can we expect? What are the storylines for COTA this weekend? Well, number one, the tire compound. I think that's the biggest headline coming into this race, is how will the softer tire perform? We know that, of course, the yellow primary, the baseline tires, and then we have the option red lettering tires. They offer more grip, but are not supposed to last as long as the yellow, the baseline tires. However, we had a very long practice session, about 45 minutes of practice yesterday, and it didn't give us much hope in terms of how will this softer tire perform. Kyle Larson, for example, did 30 laps on the yellow tires, on the baseline tires, and then 30 laps on the softer tires. Now, NASCAR Insights on Twitter posted this graph showing the lap times between the primary and the soft tires. And the soft tires, no surprise, were about a half a second or even more faster than the primary tires. The problem with this is there is no intersection. There is no real fall off with the soft tire to the point where the primary tire can be the one that is considered the safer option. The reason why that's bad is because you'll end up with a situation like what we saw at North Wilkesboro, where everyone just went with the red tires. Everyone just went with red because not only were they much faster, they lasted about as long as the primary tires. Now, granted, this is only after a 30-lap sprint, not like in a regular Cup Series race, especially at Phoenix, where cautions as of late are pretty rare. We could see long green flag runs, and then we can see about 90 or so laps a car can go on a tank of fuel at Phoenix. So it is a small sample, but that is just something to take into consideration. So there's still a good possibility that track position is extremely important, and you do not want to lose that, because with this soft tire, it looks as if the soft tire is the way to go. Obviously, we only have 2 sets of option tires and 6 primary tires, so you have to pick and choose still. But that's just something to keep in mind in the race. As for drivers to watch out for, well, you got to look at Ford. Ford, especially during championship weekend, have been amazing. They've been impeccable. The last 3 times it has been 4 champions, but Joe Logano is the only multiple time winner in the next gen era at Phoenix 2022 and 2024. But I'm more focused on his teammate, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's record at Phoenix, incredible. Since the next gen era, so 6 races, he has finished second 4 times, and he has finished no worse than 5th. 4 second place finishes, a 4th and a 5th, giving him an average finish of 2.8. That is insanely impressive. I mean, to have a 2.8 average finish at any racetrack is amazing, but at Phoenix, especially impressive. He still does not have a win, but of course, his average finish is the best among all drivers, and he also even has the second most amount of laps led among all active drivers at Phoenix. So not only does he finish well, he even runs up front, leads a lot of laps. So even though he's starting around mid-pack, that is something you have to consider on with Ryan Blaney. You also got to look at Toyota. I mean, Toyota last spring murdered the field. They led all but 14 laps between 5 different drivers. Christopher Bell would be the driver that ended up getting the victory, trying to become the first driver since Kyle Larson in 2021 to go 3 in a row. And I think there is a very strong chance of that happening today. I don't think his car wasn't all that in practice, but one thing about Christopher Bell is that he knows how to run a race, meaning it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And I would not be surprised for 1 second if we see Christopher Bell once again in contention for these race wins, alongside with his other Joe Gibbs teammates like a Denny Hamlin. Not so much Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs so far has had an awful season. Clearly, the crew chief change in the offseason with Chris Gale going to the 11 team has hurt the 54 team because they have just been garbage all season long. So I don't expect the 54 to show any speed, but the 20 and the 11, I do expect to show some muscle here in this race. And also Hendrick Motorsports, specifically William Byron, who won here in the spring of 2023. Kyle Larson is a former winner here at Phoenix, also runs well in the next gen era. So this is one of those races where it's like, I don't know for sure exactly who has the edge. And we got to mention this, Spire Motorsports. They had an average starting position of 6th. That's the best they've done in their history. I think there was a lot of saying in the offseason that Spire Motorsports will be the team that had the biggest jump to go from a back marker team to at very least a mid-card team, a midfield team. But this season so far, they're clicking all cylinders, specifically Michael McDowell. I mean, absolutely incredible. And Carson Hocevar, man, hey, listen, so you what with Carson Hocevar, and I've always said this with the 77 driver. Can he be a bit reckless? Yes, he can do a lot of stupid moves, but that kid can drive. And I can say kid because, again, I think he's a bit older than me. But regardless, he can drive. And that was an amazing qualifying effort. And also in practice, it was no fluke, even though they're on different tire compounds. Spire was 1 and 2. Carson Hocevar and Michael McDowell were fastest and second fastest in that practice session. So, hey, I'm just saying, you better watch that Spire Motorsports team. All 3, the 7, 71, and 77, they could surprise a lot of people in this race today. I don't think it's just going to be a 1 lap, fluke. I feel like they're going to be in strong contention for all 3 to at least have a top 10 finish. I mean, not to mention, of course, Josh Berry, Eric Jones. I mean, there's just a lot of drivers I feel like you can't really pinpoint who has the real edge. Anyways, let's take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup. It's complete mix. I mean, it's drivers I've never really used prior. I have 2 Spire Motorsports cars. I have Michael McDowell on my first starter, and I have Carson Hocevar in the garage. Sandwiched between them is 2 Penske drivers in Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Hendrick Motorsports driver William Byron, and Christopher Bell, because I do think there's a strong chance he could go 3 in a row today. But the driver that I got winning this race, I got Ryan Blaney starting in 12th place. 12th place for driver number 12. He has been so close so many times. Second. I feel like now, finally, this is going to be the time where he's going to finally break through and go to victory lane at Rattlesnake Valley. So I have Ryan Blaney winning this race. But that is it for this episode of MDK Race Day. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, head over to Home Field Apparel. Get yourself some number 3 merch because you're going to want to get on this. This is absolutely beautiful. Their merch collection line is on the 3rd collection and Hendrick Motorsports. So again, homefieldapparel.com. Make sure y'all check them out. As for the race, I hope it's a good one. I'm a bit worried about with that tire compound, but regardless, I hope it is a good race. As always, check back here immediately following the race for MDK Racing Victory Stop. But until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Shriners Children's 500 from Phoenix Raceway. We'll see you next time.